Alright, welcome on this channel, and since we are into indie gems and this channel is obviously about variety content, we're gonna go through the Steam Springsale and we're gonna go through what to get and what to avoid. So, we are gonna be starting off with the starting page, which was Satisfactory, Elder Scrolls Online, and Dying Light Stay Human. So, I've played Dying Light Stay Human, and it is absolutely not what you would expect it to be. So, if you want a little bit of fun, it is great. However, there are bugs that break the multiplayer, the co-op, where you will not be able to upgrade your parachute, for example, or your survivor tools that you will get, dependent on who is the lobby host and so on, because you won't unlock it unless you play on your world through the same missions again. So it doesn't have shared progress. Yeah, that's a deal breaker to me. So I would say Dying Light 2, nay. Elder Scrolls Online, obviously it is an MMORPG, so if you want it, you can go for it. It has a quite active community. Don't be fooled by this price tag. There is going to be a lot that you will have to spend in the game. There is a subscription for the game, and also there is a good amount of DLC, right? So it is an MMORPG. If you're into Elder Scrolls and if you're into MMORPGs, this is a pretty good one. I mean, if you're into MMORPGs, you've been starving and you know about Elder Scrolls anyway. It is a decent play, but like many MMORPGs, right? It is super high time investment. Satisfactory. This is one of the highlights here from the Steam sale, $17. I would say you can definitely pick this one up if you are into optimization games. This is one of these story generator and optimization games. More optimization though. As you can see, you can build huge factories that will send sorry for the bad internet here when skipping through this, but I'm currently uploading a video, or 3 of them. We are having a good amount of options here. You can build little vehicles, you can build nuclear things. I mean, if you're into optimization games, this has pretty much become the daddy of optimization games. Looks very good as well. Has super cool environments that you can destroy by putting conveyor belts all over. But it is cool nonetheless. And again, if you're into optimization games, I would say definitely give Satisfactory a look. That is worth it. Let's continue on with Monster Hunter Rise. This is obviously one of those Monster Hunter type games. So if you don't know what these are, they are built around cooperation, playing together, and you will take down these really big monsters that have certain weak points and that you need to deal with in a certain way. There is different classes in the game, and generally it does have quite a bit of content, and there's quite a few people that are super into it. As it would seem, there is also a demo, so you can play that if you want to. Monster Hunter Rise, definitely something that you can pick up. I would say that if you are into these type of games where with multiple people you slay big monsters, big mobs, that kind of thing, then you should definitely pick it up. Now, here we have Sekiro. Sekiro, in my opinion, you should pick this up. It is a Souls-like, and if you are not into Souls-like games, then obviously you will have to hold out on this, but I would tell you to pick it up because Sekiro is obviously one of those games that is very special. A little bit like Bloodborne. It is not a Souls game, it is a Souls-like game. So you have Eastern inspired world building, and the combat is the usual punishing, difficult combat that you know from the Souls-like games. You do play as a samurai, so if you're into that, obviously that is absolutely amazing. Storytelling is great as well, and the game is difficult as heckin' flip. So, if you're into that or you're not into that, I would definitely recommend you pick that up. If you're not into that, maybe pick up Dark Souls 1 first, play through that, or watch my Dark Souls run. And then we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 here. Now, I would personally tell you not to pick it up, as I wouldn't say the game is too great, but obviously, you know, I'm not the one who's presenting this to you. And if you are into Call of Duty games, then obviously you will have it anyway, because you will be annually just buying the games. But I personally would rate it probably at a 4 out of 10. It does have great graphics, but other than that, there is not much going for Modern Warfare, in my opinion. Modern Warfare 2 in this case, I don't love it. Now, Darktide. So Warhammer 40k Darktide. Now, the Warhammer 40k universe is a very nerdy universe, so some people seem to not know a lot about it. This is a really cute way to get into it. It has the normal 40k vibes of being very dark, being very brutal. However, it also is a little bit like Killing Floor, one of these wave-based survival shooters, with special enemies being able to spawn in. And these special enemies, they are controlled by other players and they're super difficult to deal with. So that in general makes it super fun. If you're into the Killing Floor type games, then you could definitely give it a try. But it seems that lately it hasn't had the best reviews. It had very good reviews on the start. So I'm not entirely sure what happened here, as I didn't keep up with the game. I would tell you to go through the reviews and figure out what exactly is going wrong here lately, because again, in the beginning it had much better reviews. I would say it is a decent pickup if you're into these wave-based survival games. For $30, I think that is a decent pickup. Now, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this game absolutely, I wouldn't even if you, so if you're into Norse mythology, don't pick it up. Because you will actually get triggered. Okay? It is, if you're into Assassin's Creed style games, also don't pick it up, because it's not Assassin's Creed in that way. The game is super buggy. It's very easy to play through the game. As soon as you get into some exploits, the game is pretty much done anyway. So yeah, you don't want that. Now to God of War. This is an absolute must play. I would say it's a great game. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun to play. Has really good storytelling. It does have hack and slash combat, which is what I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't love the hack and slash games. And so I would not recommend it for myself, for someone who likes more of the Souls-like combat and less of the hack and slash. But, you know, it is pretty cool, and it is about Norse mythology, so if you're into that, then you can watch this. It doesn't take the Norse mythology one-on-one, but it creates its own story, and it does so very, very, very well, in my opinion. So, out of all these title card games, I would definitely recommend you pick up God of War. Oh, there's even more. So Gotham Knights, this one I actually don't know, but I've heard not very good things about. But I will be honest with you. I don't really know what this game is all about. I don't know what type of game it is. But unfortunately, like so often with these big studios entering into the video game world, it looks amazing, and that's about where it stops most of the time. And it would seem that this one is one of these games as well. So if you want to put in some research, then do some research. If you're really violently into the Gotham Knights kind of theme that you have here, then maybe, but otherwise not the biggest fan. Spider-Man Miles Morales, this definitely is worth it. If you are into Spider-Man universe, this is definitely a good pickup. There's a lot going on in the game, and you do normal Spidey things. It isn't the perfect game by any means, but it is a pretty good game. So if you're into the Spider-Man stuff, then yes. If you're not, probably not, to be honest, because I don't know if you're going to enjoy it that much. And they're just very good other entries here, as well as it being reduced by, a little bit of money. It goes down from 50 to 30, but it isn't the craziest. Now, Red Dead Redemption, this is a different kind of story. So if you are into Western games, you've already picked it up. If you're not, you could still give it a try. And this is kind of a theme that you will see with my reviews, is some games, even though you're not into the Wild West theme, you will still like it by a good chance, because this game, it is very well polished, it has great world building, it has great storytelling, and the online multiplayer is absolutely atrocious. So unfortunately, that one is just grindy for no reason, and yeah, don't get it for the multiplayer, but get it for the single player experience. So if you really love the single player experience, then definitely pick it up. $20 is absolutely amazing for it. And I would say that is definitely a yay. Dwarf Fortress. Now this is one of those, I dropped the name of the genre earlier. This is one of those story generator games. So a little bit like some other games, this is the remake of a beloved installment of that. And this is Dwarf Fortress. This is probably the best storyteller. It is not the best looking. I think that would go to RimWorld, although both of them don't really look amazing. But I think that very similar to RimWorld, this one is super good at kind of generating a story out of nothing. So you just play through, and it creates a world and a story and the interaction between different NPCs, and you lose your base due to just two dwarves being angry at each other and, just getting it on, and everyone tilts and the whole colony is gone. So yeah, it can definitely be a rough game as well. It is not the easiest game to figure out, but it is one of those knowledge games where if you spend a lot of time and if you research it well, you can have a lot of fun. And if you are into content production, this makes for really great story-based content. For that, I would have a channel like, for example, Pete Complete would be a channel that you could check out there. He does really good RimWorld stuff. But of course, there's massive amounts of people that do that. And there is a lot of good people as well. So, Marvel Studios, again, I am going to refrain from reviewing any Marvel type stuff because I'm not super into Marvel type stuff. Seems like it has good reviews here. I just don't know. I don't even know what this game is about. It seems to be a like JRPG kind of thing with cards and stuff. So if you're into that, that could be cool. I'm gonna say it again. I'm not super into Marvel stuff, so I don't really love it. If you do, then you could definitely give it a try out. It is turn-based and deck building, so if you're into that, then pick it up. Stray. This one I know of. Again, absolutely amazing game. It doesn't have the craziest gameplay, so it's more of a explore the world type of game. But if you love exploring a world and getting through it and kind of figuring out things and doing some puzzles and just having a friendly, cute, and beautiful world in front of you that has a couple of secrets as well, then you should definitely pick that up. It's a little bit like a Monkey Island type installment where you have certain items that you need to give to certain people to unlock certain things. And there's a lot that you can lose. You can also see that there is very cute play with the messaging and so on and so forth. There is also a little bit of stress and gameplay through these guys who seem to be a all-matter devouring thing that plagues the area. This game is about 70 hours of playtime. Obviously, it depends. And is an absolutely amazing pickup. If you are on the fence about getting this game, I would tell you, you should probably get it. It has a beautiful setting, and I mean, it's about cats, right? So it's super cute anyway. Now, to Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers is an absolutely great game. If you are into these Sonic type games, it's really cool game. I know that the community of Sonic games has been a little bit mad about it in some ways and so on and so forth. But I would say this is probably the most solid Sonic I have seen. So that, I think, alone already shows you how good this is. It is a typical Sonic game. You go fast and you go everywhere. And yeah, it's I would say it's a very good installment of the game. So if you want like a little bit of a casual type game and a single player 3D platformer, it's great. It is obviously an open world game again, so it is what it is. But yeah. So NBA 2K, again, this is one of those big installments. No, not for me. Forza Horizon Zero Dawn. Forza Horizon 5. Horizon Zero Dawn is a game that you should play, by the way. Forza Horizon 5 is a absolutely beautiful game. It is a racing sim. There's not much more to say. I think it is one of the ruling racing sims. I mean, I know it's one of the ruling racing sims, and it is super good. If you're into racing games, you've already picked it up. If you're on the fence, definitely worth picking up and giving it a try for $35. Not too terrible. City Skylines. This is one of those very, very cute city builders. However, in comparison to other city builders, there is going to be less of a difficulty curve. And this game is there's still a lot to know and a lot to understand about the game. So it is a very deep game, but it isn't a stressful game, right? So in comparison to something maybe like Frostpunk, City Skylines, just a for fun, very, very cute game. And of course, you can build your own cities, right? So if you're into that, give it a try. Total War Warhammer. This is one of those real-time strategy games that are super, or not real-time, actually turn-based, but real combat strategy games that is super hard on the fantasy elements. And there's a lot of fantasy elements, and generally this game is super, super fun to play. It is probably one of the best looking strategy games that are out there that are like the fantasy type games with a lot of army, right? Because this is very important, is that this is not one of those where you have like 3 enemies. This is one of those games where you have a massive army and you run at each other, and it is absolutely great. It does have a world map as well, so there is a little bit of a tactical element to that. And then there's also obviously the fights themselves. So if you're into that, give it a try. If you're not, I would say that you can get it cheaper, and maybe get it then. Football Manager, it's a football game. It's a football game. If you like it, then you like it. If you don't, then you don't. Now we come to the games that are a little bit less known, and I think this is where I work my best. So that is going to be Squad as a number 1 game. Squad is a tactical game. It is a tactical shooter that is super difficult to play. It has a very, very cute veteran community of people that are super into the game, that take it omega seriously. With that, obviously, also comes elitism and some toxicity. This always happens, right? And the clan-based toxicity and stuff like that. But what makes Squad so nice is that it is probably one of the most realistic games, and it goes... There is a certain path where Battlefield went into the right direction, right? And that is Battlefield 3. It went into the direction of a more arcadey, more popular kind of shooter. And this game is the other path. This is a milsim, a little bit like Arma as well. So if you're into Arma, this is definitely a very similar thing. And it is an absolute blast to play. However, I would tell you that you will either you are a player that is super into squad-based stuff, or you are super into Milsim and then you will have to put up with the squad-based stuff. But I would tell you that this is not a game that you play alone. This is a game that you play with a full squad. Either you already have them or you find them in the game. And if you don't already have them, then go find them out in the game. And if you're not super good at socializing, either this is your opportunity or this game is a nay. Because this game is very reliant on you playing together with people and, or at least for it to be fun, playing together with people and being social and being coordinated and talking. So this game, absolutely great, but also it's not a great solo game. Then here we come to Gunfire Reborn. This is a very, very small game. Probably one of the cuter kind of online co-op games of this type of genre. And could the... Hello? Can we... Holy shit. There we go. It has this comic-y graphic, so that you need to love. Or don't. And you will be cooperating together with teammates to take out enemies. And it is kind of a roguelike first-person shooter, which is really, really great. And in general, I would say for $11, give it a try, check it out, and play it. My review of it is potentially coming. So we will see that. Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is a game that is, obviously, if you haven't heard of it, it has made its waves, especially through someone like Summit 1G streaming it. It's a super cool game where you embark on an adventure. Again, this game is more fun together with other players. You should at least have another person. If you are super into the pirate world, this game is going to be an absolute blast to play. You go on missions, you raid trophies, you can raid each other, and eventually will become a pirate legend. And that comes with, you know, cool outfit and a lot of, a lot of perks come with that as well. This game doesn't really have any upgrades for itself, which sounds weird. But the way that you play this game is the more time you spend, the better your cosmetics, and that's it. Which means the starting weapons are the weapons that you're going to be running all the time, just reskinned, right? So that is very important to point out, is that this game has, first of all, it has in-game currency, but again, it's all cosmetics. Everything is just cosmetics. And you can buy cosmetics or you can get cosmetics that you have to think and figure out for yourself. And the game's absolutely great. Play it with a friend or don't play it at all. You can play it solo, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now The Division 2. The Division 2 is a very sad tale of a game genre that I loved being driven into the ground. It is pretty much Division 1 with very different... It's a different city. It looks a little bit different. It's pretty much Division 2. Nothing of the problems with Division 1 have been fixed. And so it ends up being just absolute garbo. Do not pick this up even for $8. It is still a waste of your money. For $8 you can get much better indie games that are more fun and also more rewarding. Talk about games that are more fun and more rewarding. Ixion. Again, it's a city builder. It is in space. You need to be into that kind of stuff, right? Not everyone loves that kind of stuff. But it is one of those story generators type, story generator, city building type things again. Super crazy amount of optimization. Very complicated on the knowledge side. And there's just a lot going on in this, right? And it does have this story-based telling here as well. And so, yeah, I would, if you're into those type of games, then definitely pick it up. It is a super cool game. And again, it's a space game, right? So that will only be something for a couple of people. Now let's get over to Death Stranding. So Death Stranding, this is, I mean, if you haven't heard of this game, then you've been living under a rock. This game is absolutely amazing. Without a doubt, this game is probably one of those games that you should get if you are into story games. Then it's definitely a good idea to pick it up. There's a lot you can do. Super expensive world. The graphics are amazing, and it finally is here for PC, and it is absolutely amazing. Yeah, it just looks great. It's a great game. So absolutely would recommend picking it up. Ridiculously cheap at $23 here. Yeah, no, it's a great game. Pick it up, play it for yourself. It's worth the experience if you're into story-based games, right? Maybe one minus point is there's a lot of walking, and it has this weird walking mini game that I don't really love, but you know, it can be cool. Now we get to Marauders. Now Marauders is a little bit like Escape from Tarkov and Battlestar Galactica combined in a weird way. So you have these raids, right, that you take part in, and these take part in a space station. And the space station you can dock by using your little ships, right? So this one would be a rust bucket. That's the name. That is your ship. And this one is your standard ship. You always get this. And with that one, you can then board one of these space stations or fight other ships. You can enter other ships and fight in there. Or you can enter these big hangars, these big space stations, destroyed craters. There's a lot of different maps. And you go in and you loot. And there's a lot of valuable items. It has a very Tarkov-esque playstyle, but it is less complicated. So if you want to dive into that genre, this is probably a good way to do it. There are still a couple of problems, but one really great thing, what I've heard about this game, is that the devs have a good way of interacting with the community. So they added grenades, and grenades were absolutely not healthy for the game. And the community complained, and they just took them out and said, okay, we will rework them. Sorry. Absolutely amazing. That is what you need. The gameplay is in general pretty nice. The audio is problematic though, because with the audio, vertical audio isn't really a thing, which means that someone sounds much closer than they are because they're below you. And that matters in the type of maps here. And it is just like Tarkov, you have maps that you can learn by heart, right? And they have different loot spots and so on. I would say if you've been planning or you've been hesitant about getting into something like Tarkov because it's difficulty curve, this is the easier Tarkov. As on this one, you can also always do naked runs. Naked runs refers to the run without any gear that you bring in, because your rust bucket always spawns with a little bit of basic gear, and then you can take that and board and start the run with it. So you can do a very good job at just, you know, starting out easily. And the fear of falling behind in loot is very much less than in other games. So it's super fun to play. Watch Dogs Legion. The first Watch Dogs was really good. Everything else after that wasn't very good. This is one of Ubisoft's games that is just too samey. Don't pick it up. Not for $11. There are better games. Much, much better games. Now we talk about Hell Let Loose. Probably one of the most difficult FPS games you can play. Squad, also one of them, right? Very difficult game. It has the World War II or 1, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, World War II aesthetic, gameplay, world building for it. It is very, very difficult to play, super fun. Again, it goes into that kind of Battlefield direction of a tactical game, right? Super good gunplay. Very interesting to watch, in my opinion, but obviously it is a game not made for everyone if you're not into that precise difficult gameplay, then you have to think about, whether or not you want that. But it is, in my opinion, a very, very good version of a Battlefield. Also does have the 100 player maps, and it's a very nice game. It is, again, it is pretty difficult to play, but if it is worth it to you, then you should definitely pick it up. If the time is worth it to you, I think this is one of the greatest games that are Battlefield-like World War II games. And the graphics aren't amazing. They're good. You can see it here, right? The graphics are good, but the graphics are also not... It's not Battlefield level of polish, right? So it's somewhere below that tier. But to me, graphics don't matter that much. So it's a pretty decent one. Star Ocean Divine Force, I have no clue. I'm not going to comment on that. And Harvestella, I also have no clue, so I'm not going to comment on that. Forspoken. So this game actually has a little bit of charm to it. It's a pretty cool game in its concept. The problem is a lot of the dialogue is cringy and weird. And it tries too hard to be a game. It tries too hard to be a game that does too many things, in my opinion. It's about magic. It's about, basically you have this ring and you get in this, you land in this mysterious world, and there's a lot going on. In my opinion, you can have a good time with it, but it is a little bit cringy. Combat feels a little bit weird. I would say hold off on buying it right now, as it is still $50, and I would not say it is worth $50 to pick up for sure. Sun Haven, again, never heard of the game, so you do you. And then we have Stellaris. So Stellaris, obviously, it is one of those big games, right? It is a game that is strategy based on space, and you have different factions that you can create. It is very cool in the way that you create these factions, and it is it has some story going on with it. And the coolest thing about it is the gameplay decision making factor, where you can make decisions on how to strategically play different maps and how to play your factions, how to deal with different factions, their strategic bonds, and you can use them, abuse them, their different win conditions. And generally, if you're into strategy games and if you're remotely into space, then I would tell you to play this. This is probably going to be one of your absolutely most addictive games if you end up picking it up, if you haven't heard of it or you haven't tried it out. This is an amazing game, and for $10, this would beat a lot of the different games. And unfortunately, I mean, Ixion isn't really the same. This is a city builder. This one is a grand strategy game, so like Civilization, right? I think that says it better. So yeah, so far I would say that's absolutely amazing. The players like you love. This is always hard to say. Titanfall 2. This game you need to pick up. If you haven't played it, you need to pick this up and play it. Play through it once. It's $5. Pick it up. Get it now. The story is great and it's super fun. Metro, we currently have still the playthrough running there. And all of these games, I don't really know a lot about it. As yeah. So then we have the top sellers. Cyberpunk They have been working on getting the game to a more playable state. It is still bugged, so don't get it wrong, but it's gotten better. It definitely has gotten better, and they are on that redemption arc. So, you know, if you want to pick it up, it is a story-based game. It can be really, really fun. Definitely give it a try. Again, we've gone over pretty much most of these games, except Trains and Euro Truck if you're into... Oh yeah, Hogwarts Legacy. That's an important one. Obviously, this one isn't on sale right now. We're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy just real quick. It's a decent game. The combat, supposedly, the most fun about it. World building seems to be a bit weird sometimes. Very lazy, some weird story decisions. And generally, you are treated a little bit too much like a super MVP in my mind. That shouldn't really happen, because Hogwarts is already kind of like a school of people that are all special, and you should earn it. The being treated as special, but you're pretty much treated special as based on you having the mystically not explainable understanding of all technology. And there's just a little bit, the storytelling is a little bit too heavy-handed. There's a couple too many coincidences that are not explained and that are just, you're just like, okay, yeah. And so it can be a little bit difficult. Also, there are the mistakes of, I mean, yeah, the characters, the dialogue feels a little bit on the nose or just flat and not good. But it still is a super good game at selling the experience, so it can be a lot of fun. And if you're super into Hogwarts, I mean, how did you miss it? And yeah, you should pick it up. If not, you know, it can be a cute game. I would wait for a sale on it and then pick it up, because I mean, there's a lot of different games that you can play, and this one is a story-based game where combat is the best, but then again, there's no PvP, and so it's like, okay, I mean, if this game had PvP, I would recommend it to everyone, the way combat feels, but right now, this is not the case, and so you should think about it. Okay. Actually, a little bit of a cute thing that I want to point out here is Deep Rock Galactic. I'm going to do a review on it. $5. In my opinion, literally a more fun experience than playing Division, more fun experience than playing a lot of the, like, definitely more fun than playing Dying Light, but I mean, DayZ is more fun than Dying Light, so I mean, it is what it is, right? So it's a very good experience, and it's $5, so I would pick it up. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, as this is kind of the end of the video. It's been a long 40 minutes of just talking through games and giving you the TLDR. Again, there are some games that I don't know of. You can do your research on those, but I think that this is a pretty good job covering the Springsale and what to get and what to avoid.